everybody and welcome to Flock Talk. Today I'm going to be going over how to teach your bird to give you a high five. For this tutorial you're only going to be needing three basic things. You'll be needing a reward, a bridge device, and somewhere to work, like a T-stand or the top of a cage. Now there's only two little things you're going to be teaching in this. You're going to be teaching the bird to jump onto your hand, and you're going to be teaching them to hop off of it. Now what makes this trick complicated is your ability to communicate with your bird. It's best that before you do this that you've done other tricks beforehand so your bird understands it, what a clicker means, how to work for a reward, and just so they have a basic understanding of trick trading already. What's most important is your ability to communicate with your bird. You need to have a good understanding of which way they learn best, because it's very easy to mess this up and have them just get confused and frustrated because they don't really know what you're asking. So, without further ado, let's get into it. For this tutorial, you're starting out with your hand just flat in front of a perch, and you're going to use a treat to lure the bird onto your hand. Once they hop on, you're going to click. Then you're going to ask them to hop off by putting your hand behind the perch, and you're going to click again and reward. Eventually, over time, you're going to phase your hand out of the situation so they understand to hop on and to hop off. The more you work with this, the more you're going to demand that the bird moves faster. So you notice during some of these times, I'm rewarding my bird for hopping on my hand, thinking about it, turning around and hopping off. Later on down the road, I'm not going to be rewarding her for that because that's not the correct thing to be doing. Over time, I'm going to demand that she move faster and faster before she's actually able to earn her reward. How you do this is just stop rewarding when they take too long, and as soon as they move just a half a second faster, you reward them for that. This is where communication really comes in, because the more you understand how to communicate with your bird, the better they're going to be able to pick this up. Otherwise, they're just going to get confused and not understand why they're earning treats sometimes and not earning treats other times. Moving forward, you're just going to tilt your hand a little bit. You're not doing a big 90-degree angle yet. You're just going to put it on like about a 30-degree angle, just a nice slight slope, so that way they're starting to hop onto the center of your hand, and the gravity is going to kind of help push them over a little bit and make them move a little bit faster to pick up the pace. It's important that you don't move into this until they understand that hopping on your hand and hopping off is one unanimous movement. Next, you're going to progress yet again just a little bit farther. You're going to put your hand just a little bit farther away, and you're just going to tilt it just a little itty-bitty bit more. We're only progressing as fast as our birds want to go. If they're having difficulty landing on a 30-degree angle, you drop it down to a 15-degree angle. You just move with them and their pace. Don't want to move too quickly, don't want to be moving too slow. The more you repeat this process, the more they're going to get it. So the key here is really just to really pay attention to what they're doing. Really reward them for speed. You can see here that ZB did not move quite as fast as I wanted her to, so I didn't reward. I wait a second so she knows that was wrong, and then I ask her to do it again, and you know she picked up the pace a little bit, so she gets a big reward for that. And we're just going to keep doing this over and over and over again until she picks up more and more speed and starts to understand that she's not supposed to sit on my hand and wait. She has to go on my hand and off in half a second. And that speed is really going to come a lot later on. Now we're going to tilt our hand up a little bit more so it's at about a 45-degree angle. We're getting pretty steep here for them. So what can happen here is if the bird's not quite ready yet, they can begin to not feel quite comfortable hopping on a hand that's at that awkward angle when they're already being trained to land on the center of your hand. So what you can do then is start to bring the treat back into it to show them, hey, if you come over here, there's a treat. And over time, you're going to phase that hand out again. You can progress just a little bit slower, but it's not 100% necessary if you know your bird and you know their comfort levels. So you can see here, my hand is tipping a little bit more, and now I'm going to start working on the motion of actually doing a high five. When she lands on my hand, I want her to speed up, so I'm not pushing her. All I'm doing is gently turning my hand so it encourages her to rotate her body and come off, and the help of gravity will help her kind of slip. You don't want to be moving so fast that you're flinging them at a wall, and you don't want to be tipping your hand so fast that they're falling off. You want them to be in control of the situation, and you're just trying to speed it up a little bit more. Again, keeping a close eye on what they're comfortable with. If all of a sudden you notice they're not hopping on your hand anymore, that's a big hint that you've messed up somewhere and you've moved too fast. You want them to be comfortable with your hand gently moving and flapping their wings at the same time. This way, when you're at a 90-degree angle and they're giving you a proper high five, their wings are flapping and they're turning all on their own. Progressing further up, we're going to keep doing this. This is the part that's the hardest because if you do it wrong, you can really frustrate your bird. So you want to make sure you're only moving your hand at a very slow pace. You're not pushing them. You're not, flinging your hand forwards. All you're doing is turning my hand slightly. And the more repetitions we do it, the less you're going to turn your hand. You're only going to be turning it just a little bit by the end of it. And then when it's completely done, you're not going to need to be moving your hand at all. So you can see here, we're approaching the end. Zivi's hopping into the center of my hand. She's taking, half a second to think and turn, and she's doing it all on her own at this point. The only thing I'm doing is very slightly turning my hand. And now we're completely done the concept. As you can see here, I stick my hand up, she jumps, she bounces off. The official term for this trick is called rebounding. It's done a lot more with dogs than it is parrots, but it certainly is a heck of a lot of fun. So that is it for this tutorial. It's really quite simple in what actually has to be learned, but the way you teach it to your bird is what's so important and what makes this so hard. Because if you don't understand how to communicate with them, or if you're moving faster than they want to move, you can really frustrate them, you can confuse them, you can make them not want to train anymore. So if you're teaching this concept to your bird, make sure you've done training with them beforehand. Start off with simple concepts, little fun things, so that way you start to get a better understanding of your bird starts to get a better understanding of how to communicate with you, and it'll go a whole lot smoother in the long run rather than confusing or frustrating them because you're not 100% sure how to communicate with them. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please feel free to leave a like down below. If there are any tutorials you would like me to do in the future, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message and I will add them to my list of tutorials I need to get to. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!